Okay, good morning guys. Hope you're all well. Welcome to week 10 tutorial. This week we'll be looking at tutorial 8 as well as the extra task given for week 10. So we'll be doing isometric drawing again, as well as taking a look at auxiliary views. Before we start though, can I get a volunteer to create a Viber group for this specific tutorial session? So if you just leave your numbers in the chat, someone can set up a Viber group and we can all be added to it. And that way you will be able to ask me questions directly as well as get your attendance for this week, which I'll explain in a little bit. So can I get a volunteer? So can someone please volunteer to create a Viber group for our tutorial session? Ritik, can you please create the group? So how we will do attendance is you will do this activity, activity A and activity B. You will draw the isometric views for both of these images. We've done isometric views now for the past going on 5 weeks. So everybody should be well versed with isometric drawings. So draw the isometric view for each, draw it neatly, draw it using your set squares, draw it to scale. So this one here is in millimeters, and part B, the dimensions are given in inches. So you can either draw this using inches, or you can convert these all to millimeters and then draw part B, but draw both to scale very neatly, use proper line weights. So light lines for construction, darker lines for outlines, dotted lines for hidden lines. Take a picture and post it to the Viber discussion forum for this tutorial session, along with your ID number. And if you do that by Sunday midday, you will get attendance for week 10. Is that clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And if anyone in this session right now is not part of this session or isn't signed up for this session, please let me know and I will add you to the group that you, or the tutorial session discussion forum that you belong to. This is just a good way for us to be able to keep track of attendance, as well as make sure that you guys are actually following along with us when we do these drawing activities, because it's a bit difficult for us to check that you all understand if we can't actually draw it through virtual. So you guys should all know how to do isometric drawings by now. So just take a picture, upload it, you'll get your attendance for this week. So yes, tutorial 8, we are given a multi-view, third angle, orthographic projection of this object. And we are then asked to draw the isometric view. Make sure when you draw it, you include all of the dimensions that you use. Dimension it correctly. And as well as part B. another isometric view. So just a quick breakdown of how we will approach the next couple of weeks with regards to tutorials. This week, next week, and the following week, so up to week 12, we will be having tutorial sessions. So we'll split it half and half. Half of the time we will discuss the tutorial question, depending on what it is. So if it's a drawing thing, we'll just spend a few minutes, just a quick recap. I'll assign the task for you to do to get your attendance. And then the second half of the tutorial session, we will talk about the project. And if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask me those questions during the second half of our tutorial session. Okay. If there aren't any questions, then we will end the session earlier. But after reading a lot of your draft reports, and I've finished all the marking for draft reports, so all of your group members, all of your group leaders should have received direct email with the attached feedback. And hopefully you guys have started working through that now. But I noticed there's a lot of confusion and maybe confusion or miscommunication about certain things that you have to include, like your evaluation and your literature review. Those two were done pretty poorly for some groups, not all, but for some. So instead of waiting right until the last minute to ask questions, I feel it'll be more useful if you guys start asking questions now. You still have 3 weeks to go, so you have plenty of time to make amendments and get back on track. So yes, we'll do that for this week, week 11 and then week 12. Week 13, we won't have any tutorial. Okay, so week 13 will be given to you guys to finish up your assignment as well as finish up your project. And then week 14, our tutorial session will be a 2-hour-long tutorial session, starting at 10 and going till 12. And during that time, we will discuss, you will present your project to the class. Okay, so it'll be an open Zoom session. Anybody can join. Any of the markers will be present. I'll be there for sure, but Dr. Kabir or other lecturers may wish to drop in and have a look. You guys will be given a specific time, and as a group, you will present for 15 minutes. So prepare a PowerPoint presentation as well as your project report. A PowerPoint presentation, you'll present for 15 minutes, and then you'll have 5 minutes questions and answers at the end. And that is how we will do the assessment for presentations. So that is in week 14. Week 14 during your tutorial session. So week 14, Friday, 10 to 12, you guys will be presenting. Is that clear enough to everybody? Okay, good. So like I said last week, after I've given the feedback, you guys can feel free to make the changes and then send it back to me to have a look. I'll be open to doing that this week and next week. But week 12, if you send it back to me to have a look, it's a bit too late to start making changes, okay? So this week, next week, if you still want me to have a second look at your project, please feel free to send it through. So yes, again, for those who just joined, Ritik is creating a Viber group for our tutorial session. And in that tutorial discussion forum on Viber, you can ask me questions directly relating to the project or the tutorials that we've covered in the week. And as well as that, you will be asked to submit certain activities to get your attendance. Okay, so for this week, to get your attendance, you have to complete part A and part B of tutorial 8. Tutorial 8 is available on Moodle. You have to draw the isometric views for both of these shapes, both of these objects. draw it to scale, draw it neatly, draw it using appropriate tools, so your set squares. Take a picture along with your ID number and post it to the discussion forum. And if you do that before midday Sunday, so 12 p.m. Sunday, you will get attendance for this week. Is that clear for all those who joined a bit late? So this is part 1, isometric drawing, and part 2. So we draw it. Yes, draw it. If you have AutoCAD, you can use AutoCAD to draw it. But if you don't, then just a pencil and paper drawing is fine. Okay, so this is the second part to this tutorial this week. And it's talking about auxiliary views. Okay, auxiliary view is a type of detailed drawing that engineers use quite often. Can anybody tell me what the purpose of drawing auxiliary views is? Can anybody explain what the purpose of drawing auxiliary views is? So the reason we do auxiliary views is to show the true shape or true length of a certain detail in a drawing that can't be clearly shown in any of the 6 principal views. Okay, so all this time we've been using multi-views, isometric drawings and all that, and we've been looking at 6 principal viewing planes. So we have left, right, top, bottom, front, back. Okay, 6 views. Now, we only bring in auxiliary views when a certain detail can't be shown in any one of those views. Now, take, for example, the question 2 for this tutorial. Okay, this slanted or inclined surface can't be clearly shown in true shape in any of the views. If you look at it from the side, you won't be able to see it. If you look at it from the front, can't see it properly. If you look from the top, it doesn't clearly give you the total area of this shape, or the dimensions of this shape. So we have to draw auxiliary views for this. Okay, and there are 2 types of auxiliary views. Okay, we have primary auxiliary views and secondary auxiliary views. Now, the primary auxiliary views are projected directly from the principal drawing planes or principal views. Okay, and they are usually aligned with the view that they are projected from. So in our case, our primary auxiliary view will be projected from the top plane or from the front plane, whichever one you decide to do. So it's projected directly, and it's in line with this, in line with the top view. And the primary auxiliary views are usually used to show inclined surfaces. Okay, so if you only have a detail that is shown in one of the viewing planes, so say there was an inclined surface, but it was only shown on the top view and not on the front view like this one is, we would just use a primary auxiliary view. However, for this question here, we have an inclined surface on 2 or more of the viewing planes. And this kind of surface is called an oblique surface. Okay, and for oblique surfaces, to be able to show the true shape, we have to do something called a secondary auxiliary view, which is basically a projection from your primary auxiliary view. So to develop your secondary auxiliary view, you need to first project your primary, and then from your primary, you develop your secondary. Okay. Now, to get attendance for this week, you don't have to do the auxiliary view. However, next week, for attendance next week, you have to do this auxiliary view example, this activity, as well as a certain part of the tutorial next week, which I will mention in next week's class. Okay, so if between now and next week you can do these auxiliary views, it'll make the workload a little bit less for you come next week. Is that clear enough for everybody? Okay. So I will show you the solution to this auxiliary view drawing and try and explain as best as I can. So this is the solution, okay? And now what we've done here is we've developed a primary auxiliary view of the top view, okay? So we've aligned everything. We've taken parallel lines using the line BF, and we've projected them all out, okay? We've marked the bottom view, or the bottom of this shape. So this is the front view, the bottom, as the plane XY. Now we project all these to get a plane X bar, Y bar, X dash, Y dash. Okay, so this is your secondary, or not your secondary, your primary auxiliary view, the ground plane. So we project all these lines parallel to BF, and then we take 2 steps back when we take our dimensions. Okay, so from X to CD, this distance, we then use it here to go from the bottom plane to CD. So C and D, same dimension. And again, B to the ground plane, we take that dimension up, B, ground plane. Now we've basically projected from BF, so BF will be at the same point here. Dimension A is taken from your front view. And then from there, we've created a secondary viewing plane. That secondary plane is WV. Now, what we're essentially doing is we are rotating this top view about the line BF, okay? That is the end goal. And when we rotate it about the line BF, all of these dimensions should stay the same. That is why our WV plane is perpendicular to BF, so 90 degrees to BF, and it's touching the furthest most point of the shape, so point E. I will once we've set up the Viber group, I will send a link to a YouTube video which clearly explains as with an example of how this exact shape is developed. So I'll send it through, but I'm just giving a rough breakdown of how it's done. So our primary view, we now have this inclined surface projected into the page. And we want to now make it parallel to the page, or parallel to the viewing plane. So from our primary view, we again draw a second line V bar or W bar or V dash W dash. And we step all of our dimensions off of the WV plane. So 2 steps back. So instead of taking dimensions from here, we take dimensions from here to draw our secondary. Similar to how we did the primary auxiliary view. Instead of taking dimensions from here, we take dimensions from the second step back. Okay, so this is the solution for the auxiliary section. Again, I will send the link once the Viber group has been created. Ritik, are you still working on that now, or? Okay. So these are the two activities for this week. Okay, auxiliary as well as isometric drawing. Okay. Okay, you'll create after the session. Okay, that's fine. But please remember to do so. If not, nobody will be getting attendance. All right, so are there any questions based off of the tutorial activity that we've done today or that we've had a look at? Oh yes, please just add your contacts to the Viber chat, okay? Not the Viber chat, sorry, this Zoom chat. So please just type your contact so that you can be added. If not, Ritik, you can just create the group and then put it in the past 101 past session chat for people to join from there. Oh, and please make me an administrator for the group chat. Okay, guys, are there any questions related to the project? I believe from this tutorial session, hold on. I received I received 4 projects. So I think that's all of the projects from this session. So thank you very much. I think you guys are the only tutorial session which sent in all of your projects. So thank you very much for doing that. I hope it's beneficial to your group and that the feedback was clear enough to understand. Does everybody have a assignment partner? There are some students who are letting us know that they haven't found a assignment partner yet. Does everybody in this session have a assignment partner? So your assignment is the calculation report, and that is due in week 14. And it has to be done with a partner. Okay, you can't do it on your own. Working in as a group is a very important part of engineering in general, as well as this course, MM101. Okay, supposed to build a foundation of working in groups and communicating as a team and all that kind of stuff. So it's very important that all the assignments and all the projects are done as a group. Only thing that's individual is your lab submissions. So everybody here has a assignment partner? For the assignment, can you choose a partner from this? Yes, you can. Okay, so it's open now since it's all virtual. Everybody is on an even playing field, so you'll all be getting the same information if you attend the tutorial sessions or the assignment sessions together. In the tutorials, we won't be discussing the assignment, so you can choose a partner from any tutorial session. But there's only 2 to a group, not allowed to have 3 or 4 members in a group. Any other questions? Any other questions before we wrap up this session? Okay, if there are no questions, thank you very much for attending today. And I hope to get your submission by Sunday. And I'll see you all next week. Have a blessed weekend.